Now that we're 800 episodes into this show, I thought it was finally time that my mic got fuzzier and I stopped popping my P's and crossing my T's. Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Who needs Pioro when the companies leak the Nintendo Direct and games for you? Today's going to be an exciting episode because we are getting super close to some presentation that has to take place next week, and I am ready for it. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hit that like button if you enjoy these videos and you like seeing a fuzzy mic at the bottom of your screen. Nonetheless, let's get right into it. Pioro is not here, but EA, Electronic Arts, comes to save the day with My Sims on Switch. All right, so The Sims, you know, but My Sims was a Wii and DS game back in 2007. That is 17 years ago. I was watching the trailer for this. It's basically like Sims meets Animal Crossing meets Bratz dolls, and given that Charlie XCX is all the rage, what a perfect comeback for this franchise this year. EA's listed it up under their Switch portfolio on their official website, and multiple European retailers have listed this game for Switch, coming out in November on the 19th this year. Now, this seems inevitably like it's going to be a Nintendo Direct announcement. Is that a third-party showcase? Is that a Nintendo Direct Mini? Is that a general Nintendo Direct? Well, it could be any of them. I don't think this moves the needle in one direction or the other, except the direction of, yes, to a presentation next week. We know that Brazil has said, yup, presentation coming before the end of the month. We know Gamescom is wrapping up, and we know that it's time for Nintendo to dine on the meal that is our wallets. That's what they're trying to dine on, honestly. It's our money. There's some other things that have happened over the last few days besides My Sims that indicate a presentation is brewing besides the heavy rumor from Brazil. First of all, I'd like to let you know that Necro Philippe, I like that guy. I trust that guy from Universo Nintendo. He confirmed that My Sims is coming and is going to be announced soon. So check. You've got it on retailers, you've got it on EA's site, and you've got an insider journalist saying it's coming. But also, yesterday was Thursday. Thursday at the end of the month, normally we're getting an NSO update, and we didn't get any. This month has been very slight on NSO after Nintendo's gone pretty hard on the online service in recent months. They announced that they'd be bringing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team to the GBA Online, but that's just an expansion pack game. It's not giving anything to the average subscriber. Now, what's interesting here is that there's been a lot of heavy rumors about GameCube NSO games. Remember, we saw like controller parts shipping. We've seen a lot of interesting titles sort of pop up in mention and passing and rumors and leaks about like, oh, is Nintendo going to be upgrading the online service now, or are they going to wait till Switch 2? Well, the fact that they skipped any sort of announcement for NSO yesterday is getting people to think that maybe there is a big NSO update coming in the next Direct. Could they pair things like a new Mario Party Jamboree trailer, more details on Echoes of Wisdom, My Sims release date, as well as NSO, and maybe like, I don't know, Metroid Prime 2 on the service, or maybe they've got other things planned like a Fire Emblem 4 remake, or finally a Pokemon game, but there's enough things happening and kind of in this sort of like flux state where it seems like we're moving closer towards things being revealed and announced and completing the calendar. I think a presentation is going to happen next week, and this is the time, this is the Direct where they love to announce NSO stuff, and wouldn't it be nifty, even if it's just a new calendar, like a new roadmap for GBA and N64, bring it on. Nintendo's done a lot this year, I think, to enhance and upgrade the Virtual Console portion of NSO. They could probably do better with more for the expansion pack users in terms of additional content, but maybe that's something that pops up and goes in this Direct as well. There's plenty of options where this Direct doesn't feature hardly anything new from Nintendo, but still really establishes the rest of the year, early 2025, and gives much more detail. We know that Mario Party Jamboree is going to be playable at PAX West next week. Only have one trailer. We don't have many details on that game, and before people go hands-on and previews come out, probably going to need to drop an overview trailer. They had another Zelda trailer today highlighting more characters and casts and emphasizing smoothies, so that seems to be rolling along nicely. But there's also Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, there's Mario and Luigi Brothership, and I'd say like bringing back ports or games like Metroid Prime 2 and 3, or even the Wind Waker Twilight Princess titles that probably aren't coming but I guess still could. Those games would factor into a Direct nicely without Nintendo having to blow like a big new IP, a big new franchise entry. They can save all that stuff for Switch 2. I've also seen some rumblings about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond getting more coverage. We know that game is dated for 2025, so myself, I've just sort of forgotten about it, letting it go and figuring we're going to get most of the info next year. But there's a chance that game comes out in the first half of the year, and I think it's very likely that it drops right with or even before Nintendo Switch 2. It would make a lot of good sense to drop it right before Switch 2, then re-release it on Switch 2, and you could still say, hey, this was a Switch game through and through. If Nintendo intends to release Metroid Prime 4 Beyond in, say, March 2025, then this Direct could also be a great opportunity for them to discuss more about that game and give us more details beyond the opening sizzle gameplay we saw back in June. Now, as soon as this thing's announced, we'll go into full-on predictions mode, but until we know what kind of presentation it is, it's a little bit tricky to do that. My Sims, like I said, indicates something is coming, but it could really be a third-party showcase, a Direct Mini, or a General. We don't really know exactly what it's going to be. We'll have to wait and see, but if you don't want to wait, hold it. Ace Attorney Investigations Collection got a demo. It is ready to roll on your Switch right now, and it gives you access to both Miles Edgeworth and Prosecutor's Gambit. These games come out on September 6th on the Switch, a nice little package for $40, bringing these games stateside, and your progress will carry over. So if you play in either of these adventures, get a little taste of the demo, and then you can stop whenever you want and continue your progress over to the full game, which is pretty freaking sweet. I love that that's a modern new twist on demos that like, hey, play it, but don't waste your time. Because previously, that's why demos kind of stunk for me. It was like, if I know I'm gonna play the game, I don't want to demo it. I'm gonna have to do this section twice. But now it's like, oh, it's kind of just early access if you know you're gonna get it. Nonetheless, this is a nice little perk for people who are ready to pick up Capcom's latest. And Civilization 7 got a release date at Gamescom, which I did not want to forget. It's dropping February 2025 on Nintendo Switch. Like the original Switch just announced for Switch. The 11th of February is when it's going to release. They've got all sorts of special editions, a deluxe for $90, a Founders for $120, and then just the standard one for $60 as well. So that's a nice little extra that you can look forward to in Q1. Games are still coming for the Switch. Surprisingly, as the console ages out, there's still a lot coming. And one of those games did get delayed, which is a bummer to me, because I was super looking forward to Tales of Iron 2, Whiskers of Winter. This game is like Game of Thrones, but with rats. Kind of meets Dark Souls and big monsters. Huge freaking snake, giant bat. It looks freaking sick, but it was delayed also to February 2025. So this and Civilization providing two very different twists on history for you in the second month of next year. The new trailer looks fantastic. The game is going to be awesome on Switch, and it's another thing that you can look forward to without having to fork over for a new Switch 2. At a certain point, that's going to become a discussion for us, like what games can you still play on the current system, and how many games are going to be limited to the Switch 2. It's a part of the conversation that nobody really has a good answer for. It seems like backwards compatibility is going to be in, but how much forward compatibility will there be? How many third-party games and indie games will release on both platforms? Would it benefit Nintendo to have like Tales of Iron 2 only on the Switch 2 eShop? Or given that it's an eShop, shouldn't that kind of go across systems and across platforms? But then what if you have a game that's only playable on Switch 2 because it's more of like a B-tier game, not really an indie, but not really a full retail release, and it can only be on Switch 2? How are we going to handle all that stuff? I think there's a lot of craziness coming our way, and it's going to be interesting to see how Nintendo handles it, how third parties handle it, how indies handle it, and how the sort of separation but also cohesion of these platforms and the console transition take place eventually sometime next year. For now, though, we'll wait and figure that out at a later date. Right now, we've got some presentation to focus on for next week. I fully believe this is coming. I trust Brazil, and I also trust this My Sims thing. Like the fact that it's on EA's website, dude, that's getting announced. It was just Gamescom, so EA isn't going to just randomly announce it. If it wasn't tied to a direct of some sort, EA would have just popped it up at Gamescom where they have plenty of eyeballs and all of that. Now, it's got to be a Nintendo presentation. So which presentation do you think we're getting next week? Is it going to be a mini, a partner showcase, or a general? I'm still going for number 3. I've got my hopes and my fingers and my hands and my eyeballs and my fuzzy mic crossed for a general direct at the end of August, which is very weird, but Brazil predicted it and things seem to be falling into place. Let me know your take in the comments down below, everybody. Until next time, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.